Welcome to another time episode of Everything Sports with Aman and Evan. I'm your host, Evan Garber, and today I'm going to be breaking down the two big stories from the NBA today. First of that being Terry Rozier being traded to the Miami Heat, and then the Milwaukee Bucks firing Adrian Griffin for some reason. I'm still a little shocked. I'm still a little confused, but make sure to comment down below your guys' takes on these two big stories. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe as well, and follow us on all of our social media platforms so you don't miss out on any of our content. But we'll start off with the Adrian Griffin firing just because it's the more recent news today, and I mean it's absolutely insane. I really didn't see this coming. Of course, the Bucks are one of the best teams in the NBA. Of course, led by Adrian Griffin at the helm, at the head coach position. Um, I mean, yeah, you do have guys like Giannis, Chris Middleton, Damian Lillard. Like you have a lot of players, good players on that team, and of course they're gonna win many games. And obviously, a lot of that has stemmed from the previous 10 years of head coaches. Of course, Budenholzer being the main guy, coaching this team to the NBA Finals. Of course, they won it, and then this team has been one of the best teams, and not the best team in the NBA ever since then. Um, and so you can say that Adrian Griffin is just put in here to, just be the head coach, but like he doesn't really have to do a whole lot. I mean, because he inherited such a great team, but Adrian Griffin still has been doing pretty well. I feel like even if you have so much talent around you, you still need a good coach in order to win so many ball games because there are so many situations where the coach needs to drop some sort of play, or you need to really figure out different matchups and you really need to figure out different situations. And I think a good head coach is what wins games in some situations, in many situations actually. So that is definitely pretty interesting to see Adrian Griffin go. Now, had this article up from CBS that mentions some falling out. It seems like that led to the Adrian Griffin firing. According to the story right here, um, Terry Stotts he resigned in October after an incident in a shoot around which Griffin yelled at him to join a coaching huddle rather than speak with Giannis and Damian Lillard. Another incident said that during the in-season tournament, their loss to the Pacers, Bobby Portis challenged him in the locker room, and Griffin tried to implement a more aggressive defensive scheme early in the season, but admitted that Milwaukee's players had convinced him to change it after early struggles. So, I mean, there definitely are some factors it seems like here, but I don't know. I mean, I feel like something more major had to have happened. I mean, of course, yeah, there are some events that seems like this is like maybe it built up to this point where they did have to fire him, but I kind of feel like there has to have been some major thing that we haven't heard of yet. We'll probably get the news at some point. I feel like it'll leak eventually. We'll see what really happened and why Adrian Griffin did get fired today. But now they pursued Doc Rivers, which obviously I think would be an absolutely great fit. I got a text from Aman actually recently that said the Bucks definitely need to sign Adrian Griffin because he needs to get off TV. Which honestly I agree. I really miss the duo of Mark Jackson and Van Gundy in the broadcast booths, and now in Doc Rivers there, like he's cool and all. Of course, he has the good knowledge, but he's pretty boring. His voice is kind of raspy, which I don't really like. I don't think that's very appealing uh, to people watching the game. So if he can get back on the court and be the head coach of the Milwaukee Bucks, I mean this team's probably gonna get even better. I think because Doc Rivers obviously is one of the greatest coaches of all time, one of the greatest coaches in our generation at least. So we'll see if that does happen. We'll transition over to Terry Rozier being traded to the Miami Heat in exchange for Kyle Lowry and a 2027 first round pick protected. I'm not actually sure the protections are at this point, but it's 2027 protected pick. And this is an absolutely massive trade for the Miami Heat. They needed a point guard. As we saw, Kyle Lowry was just having an absolutely poor season. I mean, the splits aren't absolutely terrible, but when you're getting 8.2 points and let's see, 4 assists from your point guard, I mean, that's not good enough from your starting point guard. That is, like, yes, you have Jimmy Butler, yes, you have Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, and whatever. You have Bam Adebayo. You have a lot of good players that are out there that can score, so it's not exactly the worst thing that can happen, but it was definitely clear that this team needed a point guard if they wanted to compete with teams like the Bucks, the Sixers, and the Celtics. So they did finally get their point guard. Terry Rozier having an absolutely amazing season so far. Got 20, was averaging, let's see here. He's averaging 22.2 points per game. Assists is at 6.6 on pretty good splits. 46% from the field. Yeah, 46% from the field. From 3-point, he's shooting 36%. Free throw percentage is at 85%. And then the Kyle Lowry splits. I mean, Kyle Lowry splits, yeah, you can say are better. From the field, he's shooting much worse, 42%. But then 3-point percentage is much better at 38%. And then free throw percentage at 83%. So, I mean, yeah, sure, you're getting a less efficient 3-point shooter. But, I mean, it is what it is. And, yeah, additionally, you are getting worse defensively. I'm not saying that Kyle Lowry is obviously a great defender, but he's definitely a better defender than Terry Rozier. He's proven that before. He has been one of the better defenders in the league before in his previous years. Of course, now he's much older and slowed down a little bit, but he's still a defensive box plus minus plus. So he's still plus defensively compared to Terry Rozier, who is not a plus defender. He is at a, where did it go? Defensive plus minus, box plus minus is a negative 1.6 compared to Kyle Lowry's 1.1. So yeah, you're getting much worse defensively, but I think really what you needed here is an offensive point guard, and that's exactly what they got. -2 offensive box plus minus for Kyle Lowry compared to Terry Rozier's 3.6. So yeah, major difference offensively, and that's really what this team needed. You already have pretty good defenders around them. You have Jimmy Butler, of course, is a pretty good defender. Bam Adebayo, one of the best paint defenders in the NBA. So really just you needed scoring if you wanted to title contend, which I think they're pretty close to title contending now. You got Terry Rozier, offensive-minded point guard. So now you start with him, Tyler Hero, Butler, Bam, and then I'm not sure the four is. I'm not sure off the top of my head who the four is. But I think that really what really made this trade really, really good for them is the fact that they didn't get much. 2027 first round pick could end up being somewhat valuable and does the protections, of course, but depending on those protections, it could end up being valuable because Jimmy Butler is obviously not getting much younger. And maybe Terry Rozier and Bam Adebayo probably keep you afloat. I think the team's gonna be good, but I think once you lose Jimmy Butler, you're definitely taking a step in the wrong direction. And they do have some pretty good young talent, of course, around them. They have Jovic, who's been playing pretty well. Hayward Highsmith has been playing pretty well. So I think more than likely that pick will not be super valuable. So they really didn't get much at all. Kyle Lowry's been playing pretty terrible and probably going to flip Kyle Lowry. It seems like the Hornets will. So, yeah, from the Hornets' perspective, it is a little bit confusing. I feel like you probably could have gotten more back for Terry Rozier, just considering how Butler's been playing. Kyle Lowry, you're just going to trade him anyways, or maybe even cut him. They're not looking to do a buyout, it seems like, but I feel like if you can't find a trade, you kind of just have to go with the buyout. And even if you trade him, you're going to get a second round pick, maybe a first. I don't know, though. I don't think you're getting a first, honestly, for Kyle Lowry. Maybe a few seconds. Maybe we'll see 4 second round picks like we did last year so many times. We'll see that being thrown around everywhere. Maybe that'll be the price for every single player, it seems like, again. So for the Hornets, it's a little bit confusing. Of course, they didn't. I kind of think you really need to get rid of Terry Rozier because you need some more assets to build around LaMelo, because LaMelo obviously is your future, and Terry Rozier obviously is about to be 30. He's about to be 30, 29 years old right now, so he's not getting much younger, and I think his contract might expire soon. I'm not exactly positive, but I think that makes sense for the Hornets to get rid of him. But I think they definitely should have gotten a lot more out of Terry Rozier. This really might change the market, honestly, because I think that Terry Rozier being moved for this little could be a big, I don't know, it kind of doesn't make any sense, because we did see obviously the big trade last week, Pascal Siakam being traded to the Pacers, and that obviously hasn't gone well so far for them. But considering that asking price and then comparing this asking price for Terry Rozier, It is a little bit interesting. Of course, Pascal Siakam is way better than Terry Rozier, but Terry Rozier obviously a pretty solid point guard, and only giving me up a protected first round pick, which is probably going to be like 29, 30, somewhere in the high 20s, somewhere around there. Um, it does kind of bring the market value down a little bit compared to what I thought it was. I figured Siakam going for 3 first round picks. I figured that, which is kind of insane, and I figured that would make the market much higher for guys like Larry Markkinen or Dejounte Murray, other guys that could get traded this deadline. But now with this trade, I mean, yes, Terry Rozier's not on the same caliber as those guys. I do think that this trade though makes the asking prices a little bit lower than they would have been before this trade. So that's probably good for the teams that are trying to buy, like the Thunder, like the Warriors, um, like the Pacers, maybe still. A lot of teams, or Knicks still. A lot of teams looking to buy still. So we'll see what trades we get in the next coming up weeks. Let me know what you guys think down below about these two deals, and also comment down below what you guys want your team to do at this trade deadline.